Hi, Mr. Swan. This is my 4.1 shoebox assignment, and I decided to do the Berlin blockade. And the outside of my shoebox is decorated with the flag of the Soviet Union because the Soviet Union, or Eastern Germany, was the ones who blocked off Western allies. So if we look in the box, we have a calendar. And this calendar represents the blockade that took place from April 1st, which isn't on this calendar, of 1948 to May 12th of 1949. So that was a whole year that the blockade took place, or just over 13 months. And we also have a paper airplane. I know, it's beautiful. But the airplane represents the Berlin Airlift, which was created to take the supplies to the people of Berlin. What else do we have in here? Here we have a kitchen salt shaker with salt in it, and the salt represents the approximate 200,000 flights that the airplanes had to take in order to get the supplies to Berlin. We also have a train whistle. The train whistle's in there because things like the roads and even canal access were blocked off during the blockade. And it even makes a whistle sound, I think. Kind of, not really. But we also have flour, which this isn't really the kind of flour that you'd expect, but baking flour was one of the things delivered. Berlin's daily food ration was 646 tons of flour and wheat, 125 tons of cereal, and a total of 1,534 tons of food was needed to feed the over 2 million citizens of the city. So we also have an Easter egg, and the Easter egg represents the Easter parade that Turner put on to show his power. He was also trying to get a tonnage record, which means he was trying to haul the most tons of supplies in a certain amount of time. So we also have a pair of socks. The socks represent a simple luxury items that couldn't get to the city and couldn't be bought anymore because they were focusing on getting supplies there that were needed, or, for life thing. And then we also have the toothpick. The toothpick represents the size of the people because of food rations and everything. They had to watch what they were eating and eat a lot less. And now to my stack of pictures. I'll just take off the pin here and show you them one at a time. So the first thing we have is the target. The target of the Berlin blockade was Western Germany. Unfortunately, the Soviet Union did not hit success and did not completely block off supplies to Western Germany. The 36 represents the fact that when the blockade started, the city only had about 36 days worth of supplies. What else do we have here? This photo. I don't think you can see it very well. It says road closed, and then for air trafficking. And it represents not only were the roads and railroads closed, but Eastern Germany attempted to put a block on air traffic, and they failed at that. Here we have a picture of General Clay and Yusuf and RAF officers look over a model layout showing the unloading operation of the Berlin Airlift. Trucks bring the coal and other supplies from the railroad cars on the side and we're waiting transportation. So this is what the model looked like. And here, I'm assuming this middle one is General Clay. But we also have a comic that says GPS find gas. And the GPS says, dude, buy a bike. And this represents that gas and other kind of fuels had to be brought in, and many people of Berlin had to resort to different kinds of power, such as walking or biking. And the Berlin flag represents the city itself. The word post-war is because that the Berlin blockade took place after the Second World War. The word city is because the city of Berlin was completely cut off from all necessary supplies needed to live. This picture of 10 tons represents Turner's goal of getting the most tonnage record. This represents the Western Allies as partners, and they were the ones who were targeted. Here we have a picture of General Curtis. And Curtis LeMay was part of the U.S. Air Force and was in charge of getting help to haul supplies. This here is a picture of a Douglas C-47. It could haul up to 3.5 tons of cargo into Western Berlin per flight, which is pretty big and kind of cool. And here we have a map that if we look, all this here, Western Berlin, was what was being cut off, and they could no longer get food. And I'm thinking the line would have been right here, this red one, as to where supplies could come. And those are my 20 shoebox items. Yeah, have a good day.